Oi, cunt, welcome to the underworld, or welcome back. But by the title and or thumbnail of the video, you know why you're here, and you also know why I'm here talking. So I'm just going to get right into it and hop right into it. I just watched and finished The Boys, and honestly, you might not know what that is, and that's fine. But there's been tons of videos and pictures and just memes all over the internet, literally everywhere, that you've probably seen. So maybe you need a familiarity check, but if you haven't watched it, please go do yourself a favor and watch it. I recommend this to everyone, but I will say it's not safe for children, but it also is a really damn good show, and it is a comic book show. But it's not just another superhero show or just another comic book show. It has heart and it has its own speciality, and it brings a lot to the table that is only with this, and it masters pretty much everything that's involved. The action sequences, the heart, the characters, the acting itself, everything in the show I think is done really, really well. And oh my god, I wish I made a series on this instead of one video. But screw it. Right now, The Boys has 3 seasons out, and season 3 is the most recent one. The finale recently just dropped like a week or two ago, and I've been wanting to watch it for a while, so now I finally watched it and I binged it and I finished it. It has 3 seasons. Each season has 8 episodes, and each episode is about an hour long. So that gives you a pretty good premise of the show and its running time. Like I said though, this isn't any normal superhero show or comic book show. This is something special, and it does its own thing. It's based off of comic books. It is based off its own comic story, which is also called The Boys. But the show changes it around and does some changes for the better, and it ends up as a phenomenally done show, with now 3 seasons and hopefully, probably a 4th season in the making. Since again, 3rd season really just released and just got published. And here I am after watching it. I knew I wanted to talk about it and spill my thoughts out, so here I am, and I'm going to praise it, because there's not much to complain about. There's really nothing that I didn't like about it. But again, The Boys isn't some normal superhero show or comic book show. It does its own thing, and I think they should be really proud of it. It puts, of course we have superheroes and supervillains, but we have this thing where the superheroes are obviously celebrities. Of course they would be. And they would have this higher power of not only status and popularity, but of course being a superhero in itself is just power itself. And The Boys puts it on perfect display. It does it really well, and it shows that perfectly. I'm not sure when this was said first, but I even see it myself. I do see it, and it is that The Boys is basically what it would be like if superheroes were in the real world. And I can see that. The way events go down and the way people see these heroes, whether they agree or disagree with them, the politics that come with it, the influential side of things, it all makes sense. And that's, I think, honestly how it would be and how it could be. So we have these superheroes, and we see, obviously, the heroic side and the side that the public sees, but then we also get behind the scenes, and we get a look at the superheroes in their true selves, and we see them abuse that power and abuse what they have. But them superheroes, no, that's not even The Boys. The superheroes, at least the main ones, the top team are the 7, which consists of 7 different characters, obviously, which I'll get into. But The Boys is a small group of characters that I'm going to love, and I hope everyone does too. Or if you've seen it, hopefully you do too. But The Boys, they're a small group of characters that go against the superheroes and want to go against them and uncover the secrets and basically tear them down. And that includes the team of superheroes, I said, the 7, and then the company that manages them and covers up them secrets, Vought. So hopefully I make it sound good and get someone to watch it, because it really is good. It's on Amazon Prime, and you can go watch it whenever. So please, go feel free and to do that and watch it. Or you could probably just get it off the internet too, if you could find it somewhere to watch it. I don't have anything, so I can't really link it or anything. I watched it on Amazon Prime myself, but hopefully if you haven't watched it, go do so. But for those who have watched it, let's talk about it. If you haven't watched it, get it. I advise you to just leave and head on out, because I'll be talking about it, and I'll be talking heavy spoilers. Pretty much spoilers about the entire show, because I'll be getting into my favorite characters, the events that go down, each character, pretty much everything. The story, just if you haven't watched it, please go do so, and then come back afterwards. But for those who have watched it and are still here, let's talk about it. Alright, so, oh boy, or rather, the boys. Where do I start with this? God, I loved it. I loved every second of it. This show was great, and I'm so excited to see what happens next. And my God, I love it. I really, really do. Every part of it, every single thing. I'm going to praise it pretty much the whole video. There's not much to complain about. Maybe some scenes and some things are a little slow here and there, but that's mostly just because of pacing. But regardless of that, like, the pacing's still pretty good overall. They don't miss in any part of the show, I don't think. And they really just mastered everything to a T. The comedy, which, oh my God, I'll get into. The effects, the blood, everything, the powers, everything looks and is so good. There's really not anything that they do wrong. They've mastered everything that they want to do. Like, even the stuff that they want to be bad, or they want to be not good, it's intended to be that way, and it's supposed to be that way, which is impressive by itself. So, like, there's really nothing that is wrong in the show. But I still love it. Like, the characters they want you to hate, they do it good, and it's still written really well. So, they don't miss, really. From the beginning, like, even the very start of the first episode, you get Deep's ass, which we get that. We get our first sight of all the characters, Maeve, Homelander, and then of course we have Huey. And I knew this show was bloody going into it. I knew it was gory, but I didn't know it was that gory. Like, almost immediately we see Huey and Robin, and A-Train speeds through her like a fucking bullet, literally bursting her open because he's going so fast. Which we learn everything, and every single thing has no loose ends. Everything is connected, and everything has history, and there's like no loopholes. There's no plot holes or anything. Everything has explanations, and again, that just does embrace the whole idea of it being like realistic. And I'm not even a big fan of when people take like comic books and make a like live action story or something and make it too realistic. But this is something does something different, and they just master it. I don't know what it is about the show, but they do it really, really well, and I love the aspect. I love everything about it. Then, of course, we meet Billy Butcher, the man, the myth, the legend. I think Butcher is probably my favorite character. I really like Butcher, even though he is, how he is, which is shocking, because I love all the characters. I really do. But, oh man, Butcher just comes on top. I'm not a fan of just, like, the always, like, mad, like, moody, I guess I would say, like, but just like the mad kind of brute character. But he's more than that. There is no one-dimensional characters in the show, which is good. It's something to, be happy about, and I'm glad. So Butcher, in this case, he deals with a lot of shit. Obviously, he has the vendetta against Soups, and things would happen with Homelander. Then Becca, oh my God, man. At the end of season 1, when they showed that she was alive, I was like, what the fuck? Like, he's fueled by this hatred, and he's fueled by this rage that he has towards Homelander and these Soups, and he will do what has to be done, what he thinks has to be done, by any means necessary. So, there's a lot of, like, a heart that comes with his character, and a lot of emotion that really shines, and Butcher all around is just great. The accent adds to everything as well. He's hilarious, he's strong, he's tough, he's a great character. And that opinion is probably mainstream, but whatever. He's my favorite character. And I'm not sure if it's by far or not, but whatever. And then after that, there's more with his father and how he doesn't want to be anything like him. And then his little brother's suicide, which just makes him even more rageful and just relentless. There's a lot of depth to his character, and I really like that they explore him a lot. He's probably I guess you could say he's the main protagonist. Well, obviously alongside Huey, but I always thought of him as a side character, much like everyone else in The Boys. But Butcher, I guess, is an protagonist. He is the main protagonist, just alongside Huey. I always thought he was a side character, but the way they explore him and how much they actually go in depth with him, I think it's safe to say he's a protag. But man, and speaking of just like Butcher as a whole, the most recent stuff in season 3 is insane. I'll get to that stuff, but like, oh man, I'll try not to talk about season 1 and 2 because I know they're not more like recent and they're not as new as season 3 is. But oh my god, just the whole show as a whole is just amazing, really. But at the end of season 2 with Butcher and Becca too, I was sobbing at that. Like, I was so upset by that, and Butcher's reaction. Oh my god, anything with his character just really shines for me, just because I love that character so much. I mean, that goes for really anyone in any show. If you like a certain character the most, obviously you'll be more like affected by them and that character themselves. So it goes for anyone. But Butcher's case, I was sobbing over Becca's death and what happened with Butcher and her and Stormfront and that whole scene, everything. And not to mention that whole scene, the cause of it was Ryan, Becca's son and Homelander's son. That now at the end of season 3, Homelander revealed Ryan to the public, which is huge, especially when it comes to our story and our characters that we know, and just for the whole world in The Boys. Homelander has a son. Being public now is going to be big. It's going to be huge for the world and for Vought, and it's going to be a big event that goes down. But Ryan, oh my god, I was so moved by that. I did not expect that. I don't know why I didn't expect them to be alive. Becca to be alive at the end of season 1, but she was. And then season 2 explores more, and now season 3, Ryan's still involved. Obviously, he's big, and Butcher can't accept him because he's a soup and because he has powers, because he's connected to Homelander, and he's basically a constant reminder of what happened with Becca and what happened with Homelander, and what happened in the past, and just a constant reminder of soups, and how Butcher made a promise to Becca, and how he has to look after Ryan. But, of course, season 3 finale came around, and now it's not looking good for Butcher. And I'm not going to lie, I understand his promise, I understand everything with Ryan, but, at the end of season 3, when Ryan's, pushing them off, and, getting in the way, I'm just oh my god. I don't think I've ever despised the kid so much. I don't hate Ryan or anything. I don't hate the character, anything like that. I just don't and obviously don't agree with what he was doing. I mean, the season 3 finale as a whole was kind of weird because the entire, choice was, of course, to take out Homelander. But then they started fighting Soldier Boy, which is a whole different story with Soldier Boy. We'll get more into that. But they just, switched their focus from Homelander to Soldier Boy, when, obviously, Homelander was the big cause. But I guess Ryan does take a big part in that, so it makes sense. But, my god, Ryan was just getting in the way, and, I just wanted to not be there. But, oh my god. I don't know why I was shocked either, because 2 episodes before, Homelander visits Ryan, and we don't see Ryan again until the finale, until he, brings him out in front of Butcher and Soldier Boy and them. But speaking of Ryan and Homelander, and their similarities, besides their relationship, obviously, and their blood, they have superpowers. Which is another thing in this whole season, which I'll talk about more as we go on. But Butcher, oh my god, Compound V is a big thing in the show. Obviously, it's one of the biggest things. But then in season 3, we get a whole new chemical, a whole new compound, and that's V24, which obviously we see Butcher use and even Huey use. But oh my god, Butcher with powers is wild. It's so fucking badass. And when he was stepping up to Soldier Boy and Homelander, I was like, holy shit. And then here at the what was it called? The Herogasm, which, by the way, the episode Herogasm and that whole sequence of events is probably one of the best sequences I've ever seen in any TV show ever. I love that whole part of Herogasm. And, oh my god, not only Herogasm, but the show as a whole is the most rated R shit I've ever seen in my life. It's far from PG, the most farthest you can get from it. But in Herogasm, we see everyone battle it out and all the powers come out. And Homelander is fighting off Butcher and Soldier Boy, and then even Huey at one point. And it was so fucking cool. It was awesome. And I was personally having my own little Herogasm. It was just so badass. And it was so cool. And finally seeing Butcher stand against Homelander, knowing that he can go against them without, actually being broken. Because obviously, Butcher is just human. He's always been just human. Even though he tries to hide it, he still is always just human. But he's always brave enough, and he's always, fearless against Homelander, and he's so relentless towards him that we don't really see that, and it doesn't seem human, but he is. But now that he has the V24, he actually stands toe to toe with them, and it is so cool to see. Even Huey goes against them, and I don't think after Herogasm, I don't think we see Homelander and Huey come across each other again. So that's gonna be wild when that happens again. But my God, everything happens with that, and then MM2, which is a whole other story. We'll get into MM now, or AKA Mother's Milk, which I don't know what kind of name that is, Mother's Milk, but MM or Marvin. He has a whole backstory with Soldier Boy, and it delves deep into his character in Season 3, which I really appreciated, and it shows why he has these like tics and OCD, which I really like, because it happened not only in this show, but a lot of, like, I guess products or just shows, movies, any type of, literally any creation, always has characters that have scars. And these scars might not even be physical, mentally, or anything, really. Scars that obviously are from like a specific event that happened that is a constant reminder, and it has history to the scar itself and the character. And it does really good with Marvin. MM really shines with this, and especially this season, and he kicks ass, obviously. MM always is a good character. And then, of course, he has the thing with Janine, and thank God he socked Todd in the face. Like, I know he doesn't want to be like this like monster in front of his daughter, and he even clears that up at like the finale. I think it was the finale. He clears it up and talks to Janine about it. But I'm not gonna lie, I was smiling when he punched Todd like that, and he socked him. He knocked him out cold and all. It was a good moment. But of course, MM isn't the only character in The Boys, alongside Huey and Butcher. But actually, yeah, let's talk about Huey. Huey Campbell. Obviously, I already talked about some things from the beginning, but Huey all around is a great character too, and I love how they do not undermine him. He's important to the boys, and he is really not what keeps them together, because they've already went and established that MM is the heart and is the leader type role. Even though he's not necessarily the leader, he is kind of the leadership role, and he keeps them together. But Huey also does that. He has a lot of care, and Huey is an important part in the boys, and they even go in depth about Grace Mallory and how they had old events that they've like been together. Like, the boys was already an established team, like before Huey joined, and then Huey joined. But the reason why they're still together and why they're still like being successful is because of Huey and his take. But of course, he has his own problems, of course, and he actually resolves some of them in the season at the end of it, and he realizes like a lot of shit, and a lot of people have realizations. Like, even with Butcher too. Butcher sees him just like as like a spitting image of his younger brother that committed suicide, and Butcher does not want to go wrong with Huey. Butcher needs some kind of like aspect to his character. He needs someone to be there for him, and needs something to make sure he doesn't go too far. And Huey is exactly that to Butcher. So he's important to him, and Butcher is exactly important to him as well. But of course, it doesn't end there either, because with Huey, we also get Annie, aka Starlight, which she is a lot. She is the boss. I will say I love Starlight. Some scenes annoy me a little bit, but that's only really because it goes against Butcher and Huey, because I want to see them kick ass, and I want to see them, go full out relentless, even though it's not the best choice, and Starlight is probably more, appropriate with her choices and her takes. But that's really it. She's a great character, and she's a boss. She really does shine, and no pun intended. Like yeah, she literally shines. But as a character, she does, and she does a lot, and she plays a huge part in this, and the whole show as a whole, really, like in its entirety. But Starlight is a great character, and I really love seeing her finally like step out of like Vaught's shadow, and she actually like retired as Starlight at the end of season 3, and she actually like stands up against Vought and Homelander, even with the Instagram lives and stuff. Like, she does it clever, like she does smart everything. Like, oh my, like, she does get a bad hand for a lot of stuff, but I really do hope that they get what they deserve, these characters, and obviously they get justice. Because like, even though I do seem a little biased, because obviously I like some characters more than others, I would love to see blood and guts spill everywhere across the screen, but I also do want justice to prevail. And that's of course not the bullshit that Homelander spits either. But without spending too much time on Huey and Butcher and Starlight, now we get at the rest of the boys. I already talked about MM. Frenchie. How about Frenchie? And Kamiko, because I guess they're kind of a duo, and I guess I could talk about them in the same thing. What a duo! I love them. I love the chemistry. I mean, in the finale of Season 3, I'm pretty sure it was the finale, or the episode before the finale, somewhere around there. I'm pretty sure she said that he was her family, and I think he saw her as a love interest. So I think he might have got friend zoned. I mean, even worse than that, kind of. But I love Frenchie. And of course, Kamiko included. I love them as a duo, but I really do think Kamiko, said that he was her family, which makes sense. But, I mean, the whole group is their own family, basically. They all have each other as their own family, and that is the boys. That's what we know. Butcher, Huey, MM, Frenchie, and Kamiko, and now Starlight. I guess she's in it now. But as I was saying before with Frenchie, I love him. I love that he's a chemist and he wears them big ass goggles. I love it. I love Kamiko and duality between them two and her conflicting whether or not she wants the powers or not, even though we do see her get them at the end. Frenchie actually cares for her though. And they dive into Frenchie a lot too. I'm not sure if they explored Little Nina before this season or before she actually showed up. I don't think they did, but there's history with her and Frenchie, and there's history with literally everyone. Again, there's explanations and history for every single character in this show and every single scenario. It's all explored. And with the pacing and how the show is, I think they do it pretty damn good. They do it great. Whether it's Payback, Soldier Boy's old team, whether it's Kamiko and I think it was called the Shining Star Liberation, whether it's that, whether it's Homelander and his story and him as a kid, or maybe if it's Butcher, before Becca's disappearance, whatever the case, they keep filling it up with backstory and info about these characters or scenarios while we have these hour-long episodes of 8 episodes in each season. And they do it phenomenally, all while keeping the action and actual current events keep going on. They do it really well. They balance it out very good, and it pays off, certainly. And even besides the actual story and plot elements, the characters are all done really well as well, and the effects, the blood, the gore, the powers, everything looks absolutely fantastic. I think it looks great. I know some things have limits, and they do have a budget, so there is some issues and they can't go too far with it. Hopefully, next season, each season they amp things up and they bring it to the next level somehow. So hopefully next season it's even more destructive than season 3 is, and that was pretty bad in itself. Not bad per se, but damage wise and how much shit happened, it was a lot. So hopefully they could even up it again in the next season. But man, everything looks great. Like I said earlier, in the very first episode when Robin's burst into smithereens from A-Train, to Homelander on the plane, to now Soldier Boy using his beam to destroy the house of the Hero-gasm, of the twins' house. It all goes on and it looks pretty damn good. Even Homelander's heat vision, or Starlight becoming a goddess at the end of season 3 when she starts fucking levitating. Whatever the case is, it always looks good. And of course they keep bringing the story and the plot, the emotion, the big things happening. And of course, it's on a pretty big scale. These are the world's biggest heroes. These are the most famous actual people in the world probably when it comes to the 7. And of course we have the ones combating against them, and that's Butcher and Huey and the boys as a whole. And they always keep clashing. The plot is always ongoing no matter what the case is, and it's always just damn good shit. It's always good. They don't miss in this show. But one thing in said show that I haven't talked about yet is the 7 themselves, or at least more of the heroes, which obviously aren't very much heroes. I mean, we've all seen it, right? If you're still here, hopefully you have seen it, because then I would have been spoiling everything. But kind of did give you a warning, but whatever. The thing is about the heroes is that we all know that they're not true heroes. No one has that actual bravery and actual call for justice. Well, besides a certain someone named Annie January, which we already saw. I already talked about Starlight a little bit. Love her. But I also love the Seven. Even though some of them are shitty people, they're great characters, don't get me wrong. They're amazing characters, but as people in the show, like in the world of the boys, them as people are shitty. Like, obviously, Homelander is like the worst of the worst, but he's an awesome character. And we all see, obviously, he has great moments in the show. But while we are on that topic of America as a superhero, let's stay on it. Let's talk about the Homelander. And for those who aren't still here watching the video, even they probably know who Homelander is. He's gone beyond the boys show and the boys comics. He is everywhere now. Not only is he the world's greatest superhero, or the leader of the Seven, but he's also the main and biggest antagonist of the show. And I love it. And I love that they're doing it and how they've used him and how they've done it so far. I love how they make him the way he is. And obviously he's the antagonist, so they do a good job of making him, like us hate him. Because again, he's a horrible person, but as a character, he's amazing. And you gotta do something special to make that a scenario, which they do. But I love how overwhelmingly powerful he is and how they display that. And he's also not much of a big guy either. Like, yes, he's ruthless and he's again obviously very powerful, but he also is like psychotic and he's disturbed and he is unable to feel like love and unable to feel actual emotions because of his story, which they dive into, which I've already talked about that, how they dive into every character and every story possible. Over these 3 seasons, they've explored a lot, including Homelander. And again, boy, does it pay off. Not only as a superhero and the character that he is a phenomenal antagonist. And it's kind of funny how, I mean, I know it's on purpose, but it's just funny to think about how he's America's #1. He is the world's greatest superhero. And in the show, he is the biggest and grand antagonist that there is, which is kind of fun to think about. But it's Homelander, and that's who he is. And he's a bit of a freak, which we see a good amount of times with Madeline Stillwell in the first season, and then Stormfront in the second. Now the third, he's more on his own. I mean, he does seem like he tried caring for Maeve a little bit, but whatever. But yeah, he has his obsession with milk, whatever. I don't know, but it's really interesting because he is his man-made product. Yes, he was a child at one point, but he is still a man-made product. He had no real parents growing up. He had no real love or care surrounding him. He was an experiment for them and for Vought to raise the world's greatest superhero. And that's exactly what he is, the world's greatest superhero. And regardless of what Vought tells us, we see that he is very imperfect. Which, by the way, speaking of Vought and that kind of reference, I fucking love how self-aware the boys is and how much effort they put into Vought and Vought International as a company and branding and everything in the world of the boys. Even in real life, on Twitter, Vought International has an actual Twitter page. Black Noir, the character, has an actual Twitter page. Shit like that. I love it so much, and they do it phenomenally. They even make films and make energy drinks and stuff in the show, in the boys' world. It's just so damn great, and they get really creative with it. They get really imaginative in the show with it, and I love it. But back to where we were at, Homelander. I was saying that he is imperfect. And I forgot one thing, him being a freak, he also has a very, tasting for milk for some reason. I don't know what that's about. But maybe it is because he actually drank breast milk, so maybe it's because of that. And he, misses that and misses Stillwell maybe. Or just wants to, he craves love. He craves a motherly figure, and I guess that reminds him of that. Maybe, I don't know. That's what I think of it. I don't know. But he is imperfect. And like I said, he is incapable of actually feeling emotions because he's never had that in his life. And he is this man-made product. And as Dan Edgar said, he is just that. He is a product. He's not a human or a superhero. He is Vaught's product. Which is messed up, but it is also kind of true. But kind of not. Because now season 3 comes around, Stan is out, and we see Homelander more of on his own, and basically leading Vought. He basically just tells Ashley what to do. And by the way, I thought Ashley was going to be a character. The CEO of Vought, by the way, Ashley, if you don't know who I'm talking about, I thought she was going to be a character to annoy the shit out of me, but I actually really like her. Unless she's like a complete asshole and, just does things for the public, but whatever. I understand. It's Vought. But Homelander is basically leading Vought, and he just tells her what to do, this and that. He tells all the other heroes what to do now. And he is basically the leader, not only of the 7 now, but of Vought as a whole. And the public is cheering him on. They love him so much. Somehow they do. And they throw Starlight's speeches out of the window, and they say how she's just trying to taint the company and throw them down, tear them down, whatever the case. The public still believes in Vought and believes in Homelander and believes in patriotism for what they think it is and what they think Homelander represents. But hey, it could be even worse, because Stormfront was an awful fucking person, and she was trying to spit some shit to Ryan about white genocide or whatever she said, and Homelander was like, what, and tried got Ryan's focus away from her, which was good. He could be even worse, but he still is kind of the worst. So but Homelander is Homelander, and I'm really interested in that, because again, he doesn't really conceive or perceive any actual emotion or humanity. He is this man-made thing that is just built for the public and for the role of a superhero and a guardian, even though it's just Vaught's using him to actually have this popularity and have this image of what they are. It's really interesting. I really like how they do Homelander, especially as an antagonist, and I can't wait to see more of them, especially now that they bring Ryan into it, and now that he's in the public, it's going to create a whole maelstrom. I can't wait to see that. We haven't even seen Butcher's reaction to Ryan being public, let alone the world. But, of course, hopefully next season. But I think I've spent enough time on Homelander. Who is next? Let's talk about Queen Maeve. Queen Maeve is a great character. I love her. I'm so glad that she came through at the end. I really thought she died, but apparently she didn't, and she was fine. And Vought knew about her not being dead. They just covered her up and said that she was dead. But apparently her and, I think her name was Elena, Maeve's girlfriend. Well, her full name is Queen Maeve, but I just call her Maeve. Her and her girlfriend are moving away, so she is not going to be involved as much anymore. Maybe unless she, heals and takes time to come back and then does return, maybe. Could have another Soldier Boy kind of scenario. But I guess we'll see. But Queen Maeve has always been a good character. She's always been a part of the 7 since the very start, I'm pretty sure. And I don't think she ever exited until this season, when she had that problem and they said she was in rehab when she was actually just locked up in Vought Tower. But Maeve has always been a character, and she finally does be a hero at the very end. She always has that complication with Starlight, what is a hero and what they do in Vought and what they do for the public and everything. Maeve has always been an important role in the 7 and in the show. Even from the very beginning. Even though it doesn't seem like that, she always has been pretty significant. And a lot of the time, she was kind of just doing whatever Vought told her to do. Because, number one, she obviously knows that Homelander is there, and just because she's part of the 7. So a lot of the stuff has been just because of that. But it even explores her side and her story, to the point where they even make movies about her being lesbian, because Vought is aware of the public representation or whatever, and it's not it's not only that either. They parody a lot of stuff. That does happen in the real world. Some companies don't give a shit about the people, but that's how it is. Just they're companies, and they're huge companies, billion-dollar franchises, companies, series, whatever it is. The boys parody off of it all. They even have things like that. They have movies. They have Vought Plus, and like I said earlier, the energy drinks and the chips and the branding of everything in the boys' world is just phenomenal, and I fucking love it. And I keep saying the energy drinks because I keep thinking about that and the sneakers and the actual cardboard cutouts of the next hero I'll be talking about, and that is A-Train. A-Train is a great character, and they even explore him. They do not leave any plot holes. Everyone has a scenario. Everyone has a story. And they explore pretty much everyone. Like, I don't think there is a big character that's not explored. Like, even Stan Edgar was explored. Even Rebecca Newman, I think her name was, the head popper, even she was explored. Literally everyone is explored, and they take so much time and effort to actually expand on this world and make it seem like it's real. And I love it. It really is expansive, and they get really creative with it, like I said, and I love it. But A-Train is a great character, and so among the best, surprisingly, in like recent times. I thought he died. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he died when he ran and killed Blue Hawk. Like, by the way, I'm glad he did. Obviously, Vought and Ashley and all, it's unhappy about it, but I was glad he did. Maybe vengeance or like revenge isn't the best over actual like legal justice, I guess. But I'm glad he did. Like he wanted to do it, and the dude kind of deserved it. Dude was a piece of shit. But Blue Hawk got what was coming to him. A-Train killed him, which, by the way, was an awesome sequence. Anything that has to do with his super speed and them showing his power is great. Even though, again, I know they have budgets and all, so they can't do like big screen theater shit. Hopefully next season they can. But for now, it's not like the best it could be, but they make it really damn good for what it is. And I think it's really well. Like, a lot of the time, I don't even think of the budget. Like, I never even thought about the budget until making this video. Until I actually sat down and thought about it and was like, oh wow. Didn't even realize that it's a show at Amazon Prime and not like a theatrical kind of release. Like, it's a lot of shit that's done really well that you would expect on a big screen. But we delve a lot deeper into A-Train than I thought we would in this entire show. Because I thought he was like a B-tier character maybe, like just a side character kind of thing. Not too big, but he's pretty damn big. When it comes to either Huey, and then things with Starlight, and now even with Homelander, and his brother. And then the whole thing with Vought and Blue Hawk now. Probably be more with him going onwards. Now he has a whole new heart, which is crazy. And I'm not sure how that works with the powers, but I guess they don't really need to give, a medical explanation. But it's alright. And speaking of recent stuff being affected by Homelander, just like A-Train, we have another hero, the Deep. And just thinking about it, oh my god. The Deep is one of the funniest motherfuckers in this show. Like, I get laughed out of Homelander sometimes. Billy Butcher always makes me laugh. But the Deep has some of the funniest moments in the entire show. From the very beginning with his ass out to now with the octopus and Herogasm. I don't even know if it's on purpose, but some scenes are just so stupidly funny, and some things are on purpose, and it's just hilarious. The comedy hits, and the Deep does not miss. I just kind of feel bad for him, though. I mean, not really, because he is kind of a shitty person, but just some things that happen to him, I feel like he gets the bad hand of things when it comes to the Seven and being a hero. But I guess it's kind of justifiable because of him being a shitty person. But my god, the Deep is such a great character. I'm glad they haven't killed him off, because he's just been like a reoccurring thing. Like, he's actually important to the story, because the Church of the Collective was actually a big thing that happened when it came to the political things, when it came to Newman, and then like with the stuff with A-Train delivering the files to Annie and Huey. Like, he actually does have a plot part in it. And then Herogasm, the things that happen with him are important, but it's like, it's just so stupid, and it has a comedic side to it, which lands really, really well, and it's just great. It's hilarious, and it's actually important, which I think they mix together really well. And unsurprisingly, I think Deep is one of the biggest things, comedic-wise, that I'm looking forward to next season. Because, oh my, there's so much, and there's so many memes and shit, and just the jokes people make on the internet too, that really just embrace the joke and the meme of him, and just just him as a character. And honestly, it just betters him as a character as a whole. Honestly, really any character that anyone posts on the internet betters the character, because The Boys is, again, it's self-aware, so they parody it, like, and they abuse that, And that's actually how it would be in real life too. People posting shit, and obviously like showing like the heroes off or whatever. I'm not sure how to word it, but just like showing them off and people posting them, just like in the show when people were posting Stormfront or posting Starlight, things like that, protests, all that stuff. That's how it would be, and it just betters it as a whole. But I'll get off the deep. Stormfront, don't really need to talk about. Translucent, don't really need to talk about. And I'm making sure I didn't miss anyone, at least from the 7, which I know you're all, if you're watching this, you know that I'm missing someone. I'm not missing him, I just haven't mentioned him yet until now. So let's talk about him. Black Noir. The shadow that is Black Noir. The speechless, emotionless figure that is Black Noir finally got some recognition, and more important, when it comes to season 3. Probably in the worst way possible, though. Because, I mean, we've all seen it, right? We've all know what happens, and oh my god, why did they do that? Black Noir did not deserve that, especially from his own team, from Homelander. Oh my god, man. I don't know, but we got some good details about Black Noir. We even saw him without his mask in this season because of Payback and everything with Grace Mallory and Soldier Boy. We finally see him talk. Now we know why he can't talk and why he doesn't show emotion at all or anything like that, and why he wears his mask all the time. We understand his character a lot more. And it's painful. It really is. Because Black Noir, it seemed like, I mean, I guess he did just do whatever Vought told him to do. But that's what Vought is. That's what his role was. That's what his job was. So it makes sense. But he was, I'm not sure what happened, but I guess over the years, he went insane. Because we've all seen it. We all know it. And I fucking love it. He is insane and he's schizophrenic. And he is seeing things that are just cartoon characters. From this like old restaurant I guess he used to go to. Or that was made from him in his honor. I'm not sure. But there is a restaurant and it's abandoned and he goes there and we all see it. And I fucking love it because he is seeing these things that are like imaginary friends and cartoon characters and talking to him, and they replay his like old memories and like this PTSD kind of thing. They show him these memories of his old like time with Soldier Boy through these like cartoon characters and through the show. And God, I love it. I love how it's done, and I love how they do Black Noir, and I just love it. But of course, his demise comes, and it's so sad. And I don't know why they had to do him like that. I love his character, the whole thing. Even when he was just speechless. Before season 3, I loved his character. Before everything that went down with Homelander, I loved his character. And I really always did. I always loved his character and saw him as one of my favorites. But now, you know, I know, we're all aware of it by now. He's gone. He's dead. Hopefully, maybe he'll come back somehow. But by the looks of things, doesn't look like he's going to be okay after that. So maybe not. I don't know. I really wanted to see more of Black Noir and his like imaginary cartoon friends, though. I wanted to see more of that. But it is what it is. He's gone, and we have the story moving forward with everything that happened with Butcher, Huey, Starlight, and of course, like I said, Ryan now with Homelander in the public eye, and we have a bunch of stuff going down. But I love The Boys. I love it a lot, actually. It's probably one of my favorite shows now, which it went up real quickly. Real fast, too. Now, I didn't have to watch the full show either to know that, which is impressive that a show can do that. I'm not really... It doesn't take a lot for me to get, like, entertained, but The Boys certainly did it for me, and it's definitely up there now. And another thing I want to talk about was Compound V as a whole. I know I say I don't like things when it's too realistic, but like I said already, The Boys do it really well. And I'm glad that there's actually no, like, genetically engineered, like, superheroes. Like, there's no actual born superheroes in this world. Unless it's a child from a superhero, like Ryan. But, like, everyone has Compound V, and it's used as a drug, and it's used as a secret in Vought, and Vought tried to hide it for so long until they, our boys released it to the public. And the whole thing with Compound V, I think just on the low, in the shadows and secrecy, the way that they make it, and they even make other stuff, like the V-24 that we see, that again kicks ass because we see Butcher and Huey use it. But Compound V as a whole is just a really good concept. I like how they do it. And I know I do say again that I don't like things like comic book stories when they make it too realistic. But something with the boys, they just do it to their specialty, and they've mastered it, and they make it work very well. Better than I expected. And the whole show is better than I expected as a whole. Like, I knew it was good, but I didn't know I was going to enjoy it and like it that much. But there you have it. The boys make it work. They make everything work. Not only Compound V, not only the characters, not only the story that they're making, but everything. The boys works. The boys get shit done. And we see that. But speaking of Compound V, or more of V24, at the end of Season 3, it says how Butcher has months to live, and that's why he saved Huey. Oh yeah, that too. Like the whole relationship between these characters, the chemistry between characters as a whole in the show, like just in general, is amazing. And I love seeing Butcher and Huey actually get along, even though like we know there's conflict between them two. But even the moments they get along, it's something to adore. Really, anything about the show as a whole, like the relationships between characters, is so well done. Everything is just mastered in the show, and there's nothing but praise, really. But again, Butcher does have months to live, which we'll probably explore in Season 4, and he might even die, but I don't want to say that. I'm trying to not say it, or I'm trying to sugarcoat it because I don't want it to happen, but it could definitely happen. It's a possibility. Hopefully not, but I guess we'll see how it pans out. But I don't know. I never made a video on the boys, and this was a lot of just talking and a lot of rambling on, and apologies, but you've gotten to it, and you're here. You made it this far. But I haven't really made a video on the boys, and since I just watched and finished it now, I just watched it all, I can talk about it now. So I wanted to share my thoughts and just talk about it some, and just have it on the channel. So there you have it. Just wanted to sit down and talk for a bit about the boys, and stuff that I like about it, and just my thoughts overall. So I did ramble on a lot, but again, just wanted to sit down and talk about it. But thank you for watching and hearing me out. I think that's all. I'm really excited for the new season, and whenever they do make new stuff for the boys, I'm really excited for it, and I'm looking forward to it. And then maybe I actually will make a video on that. But for now, until next time, sorry to depart like this, but that's all. Subscribe, like, comment, etc., all that, common YouTube stuff. But that's all. This has been Ghosty, and I bid you farewell.